Thank you, and good morning. Welcome to the Kentucky Public Pension Authority's quarterly board meeting for December the 5th. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. And Mr. Board, may we have our legal opening statement?
Yes, sir. This is a regular meeting of the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority. This meeting is being broadcast via video teleconference pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute Section 61.826 and may be viewed by the public at the Kentucky Public Pensions Authority offices located at 1260 Louisville Road in Frankfort, Kentucky. It is also being broadcast to the public via Facebook. If you are speaking and not appearing by video, please identify yourself before talking. In the event the video or audio broadcast is interrupted, we will attempt to reestablish a connection. If a connection cannot be reestablished within 30 minutes, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled to another date. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rankin, may we have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mr. Powell,
Here.
Mr. Cheatham, Dr. Hackbart,
Here.
Ms. Hampton,
Here.
Mr. Lane,
Here.
Mr. O'Mara,
Here.
Mr. Piercy,
Here.
and Mr. Summers.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for doing that. Again, Madam Rankin, would you read our public comment?
Yes, we did receive one public comment for today's meeting, and I will read it as follows. This has been submitted by Andrew Parrish, and he writes as follows. Good afternoon. I hope this finds you all well, and I appreciate your commitment to the Commonwealth and the employees whom you represent. I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is A.J. Parrish, and I currently serve as the night shift sergeant for the Paducah Police Department and have had the pleasure of working with this agency since I joined the force in May of 2014. I am writing this public comment to you all because I want to bring to light an issue with retention among law enforcement that you are likely all too familiar with. While this issue is affecting agencies nationwide, I want to focus on our issue specifically here in Kentucky. Currently, the Commonwealth offers 3 tiers for retirement, but I will focus on the one that is currently in effect as of January 1, 2014, which is Tier 3. Essentially, peace officers are no longer under a pension-style retirement, but rather a 401k. Unlike the other retirement tiers prior to 2014, under Tier 3, the participant has the option to leave law enforcement and take their 401k balance with them. Specifically, they are vested after 60 months or 5 years of employment. What this means is that instead of staying in law enforcement for 25 years, officers can now leave law enforcement at 5 years of service and go to work in the private sector with their 401k. This is causing a massive strain on law enforcement agencies across the Commonwealth to retain seasoned veteran officers. Instead, agencies are now forced to cycle through hiring young officers, send them to the academy to get trained, and then hope that they will stay faithful to law enforcement for 25 years. While this seems grim, I do have a solution to this issue. In January, House Bill 143 was introduced, which would afford Tier 3 participants the option of going to Tier 2. This would greatly benefit the safety and security of the communities within our Commonwealth by retaining law enforcement professionals for 25 years to reach full retirement under the pension system. I humbly request that you take some time to fully research this issue and support the efforts to afford us the opportunity to go from a Tier 3 retirement system to Tier 2. I would be happy to discuss this issue further and can be reached via email or phone. Gave his phone number, but I will not read it. Again, thank you for your time and support in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda will be the minutes from the September 26th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those? Any deletions, amendments, corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve it as written.
So moved.
Have a first,
Second.
Mr. Lane. Second, Ms. Hampton. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up will be the KPPA Audit Committee report and recommendations. I have Ms. Coffey and Mr. Lamb on this.
Good morning.
Whoever would like to go first.
I'll start us off. The audit committee met on November 19th. We have several items that we are bringing to the board for either approval or ratification. Mike is up first, so with our first item that we're bringing to the board, I'll let him take over and do his presentation.
Thanks, Kristen. On page 18, it's the CERS governance letter, which is from Blue and Company. This was presented to the CERS board earlier this week. The only difference in this letter between what was presented there and what will be given to us from Blue and Company on the final is on page 19. And I actually have the final letters from Blue and Company in my possession today, but this journal entry here has been removed. They did not find anything that was material enough to present unadjusted values or entries. And so besides that change, there's been no change to this letter that was presented to the CERS board. On page 22 is the KRS board version that was also presented to the KRS board earlier this week. And on page 23, the only thing that's changed from the draft in front of you and the final copy that I have in my possession is that journal entry has been removed because there was no things. So these two letters were, they pretty much outline our responsibilities as management, what the audit responsibilities were, any difficulties or disagreements between management and any other matters that needed to be brought before the governing bodies of the financial statements. So there's no action on these because they were approved in the prior meetings. But then I will move on to page 26. And on page 26 through 156 is the most recent version of the CERS ACFR. The only thing that has not been changed in here are the audit opinion letters changing from draft to final. And there are a couple other cosmetic page number references that we're validating today. And I think we're going to update the glossary a little bit. So those two items and the audit letters need to be updated from this draft, and then we can publish them. Our plan is to let the external auditors review these again this afternoon, and then we would like to publish them to our website tomorrow. And so that's the CERS Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Starting on page 157 through 310 is the KRS Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Same thing, a couple cosmetic things, and the audit opinion letters need to be changed from draft to final, which again I have in my possession ready to do that. Both boards have approved their individual ACFRs for presentation to the KPPA board. It's my request today that we have the KPPA board approve these for publication. And that's, I think, the bulk of my presentation related to the financial statements.
Any questions for Mr. Lamb? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ACFR as presented.
So moved.
Have a first, Mr. O'Meara.
I'll second.
Second from Ms. Hampton. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. On page 311, these are the GFOA comments that we are going to submit to the GFOA, our responses to their comments from last year's ACFR. So when we apply for the award this year, we will submit the two ACFRs as well as our responses to last year's comments. I did go over these in each individual board meeting, so I won't go over them again today unless you have questions. And so I would also request that we get approval from the KPPA board to respond as presented.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. O'Meara. And now for a second.
Second.
Have a second, Ms. Hampton. Any discussion?
Well, I would like to ask the same question I asked in the C. How many years now has KPPA received the Certificate of Achievement?
So this award here that was received for the 2023 ACFR was the 25th year that we received the GFOA certificate. We anticipate that the CERS and the KRS ACFRs that we submit this year will continue that tradition, and we hope that that we've done well enough to warrant that award again.
I just want to thank the staff and everyone involved in publishing these and earning this award once again. So thank you.
Yes, I echo that sentiment. Great job again to all the staff that participates. In fact, thank you to all the staff for all you do for the systems. All right, that being said, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You see here, I guess the next is the, let's see here, the management response and then the request for infrastructure and application security assessment.
Is
Good
Don?
morning. So this was the third-party audit report that I presented at the audit committee. Just to kind of highlight a couple of things, we focused on 3 specific areas: the external penetration and the internal penetration, and then a Microsoft 365 assessment as well. If you want to scroll down a little bit, there's a listing of the findings, the criticality, the criticalness of those. We had a total of 19 findings. We have already resolved several of these. The high risk one, we are going to be working with a vendor and anticipate having that completed first quarter of the upcoming year. It's going to take a little bit of time to implement those changes. And then the moderate risk ones, I believe, are like 75% complete on those findings. We continue to meet regularly and assess those and get updates from staff on the completion of all the findings from the audit. So I think going forward for next year, we were seeking approval for the third-party audit again, including the application assessment and infrastructure for next year. We alternate year to year. We always do an infrastructure audit, but the application is every other year. We were requesting $125,000 for that audit for calendar year 2025. Does anybody have any questions or comment?
And that 1.25 is already been budgeted, correct?
That is correct. Yes, that is part of the IT budget.
Yes. All right. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the motion, or I'll entertain a motion for approve the infrastructure and application security assessment.
So moved.
Have a first, Mr. O'Mara.
Second.
Second by Dr. Hackbert. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the completed internal audits. Ms. Coffey.
So yes, the final item coming for approval to the KPPA board today is the ratification of the acceptance of the completed audit that's been completed since the last time we met. Sherry, I believe it starts on page 12. So we did a review of the 1099-R process. We worked with Stephanie Aldridge's group. Just like every time we work with her group, they were helpful. They answered all of our questions. Her group is great to work with. We did not have any findings that came out of this audit. One of the main reasons we were looking at it was, one, it was a follow-up to a prior audit, and they had changed the vendor, and we just wanted to make sure that things were working as they should since we had a new vendor assisting. But we didn't find any issues, so we are just simply asking that KPPA ratify the acceptance of this report.
Any questions, Ms. Collins? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the completed internal audits as presented.
So moved.
First by Ms. Hampton,
Second.
second by Mr. Summers. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And that completes the audit committee reports and recommendations. Next up is the administrative budget action. Mr. Lamb, you're on the hot seat again.
Thank you. This is the quarter ended 9/30/2024's admin expenses compared to budget. This is the summary level rolled up into the large categories. The comments are there. I do want to point out, if you page down to the next page, the admin budget that was presented in the CERS board meeting was inaccurate. We had a misentry that affected the FICA line item, the paid retirement line item, and the health insurance line item. Those have been corrected, and this is the new quarterly administrative budget to actual detailed pages showing that change there. Overall, for the quarter, we are in line or better for expenses, like around 24%, if not better, for each of the large line items. And then I think at the bottom of that, it shows you the allocation percentage that goes to the individual pension plans based on the approved hybrid percentage. And as I went through most of this in each of the board meeting, I will leave it there unless there's further questions.
I don't hear any questions. Okay. All right. There's no questions. All right, then this is no action required on this. So then we will move to Mr. Willer for his investment department update.
Thank you very much. Mike, that's a tough one from brevity standpoint to follow, but I'll try to be as brief as possible, again, given that most of this information was presented at the respective investment committee and board meetings. So page 321, thank you, Sherry. The County Employees Retirement System Investment Committee and the Kentucky Retirement Systems Investment Committee held several special called and regular meetings over the last 3 months. And the highlights from those meetings were that the CERS Investment Committee unanimously approved a proposed investment policy statement that sought to clarify and strengthen language around responsibilities, discretion, monitoring, and reporting. And both the CERS and the KERS investment committees unanimously approved staff in Wilshire's recommendation to retain 100% of their indirect interest in Kraken Resources LLC, which was held through the Kane Anderson Energy Fund 7 that we were invested in. And this continuation is through an investment in the KEPE Continuation Fund LP. All of the portfolios had a strong start to the fiscal year. For the quarter, the pension composite produced a return of 5.03% versus the blended pension composite benchmark return of 4.67%, with all 5 of the portfolios outperforming their individual benchmarks. The insurance composite produced a return of 4.94% versus its blended benchmark of 4.67%, and 4 of the 5 portfolios outperformed their individual benchmarks. From a pure universe perspective, all of the portfolios have continued to produce top quartile or decile risk-adjusted performance over the 3- and 5-year time periods. And as of the end of the quarter, of the 70 discrete asset class ranges that we have across portfolios, only 2 were identified as outside of their respective allowable ranges, and both of those were by approximately 40 basis points, which staff anticipates having resolved by the end of this month, so the end of December. We also were very excited to report that Carrie Bass has officially started as the new compliance officer She's already begun work on reviewing and overhauling the compliance function and reporting, which we hope increases transparency for the investment committees and the boards. I did want to provide a brief update following the start of the first quarter of the fiscal year. October performance was recently finalized, and the portfolios did give back some of their first quarter's performance as markets cooled with strong economic data sparking a repricing of Fed rate cuts. The pension composite was down 139 basis points for the month versus its benchmark return of minus 110 basis points. And the insurance composite returned minus 1.36% versus the blended insurance composite benchmark return of minus 1.04%. Markets were somewhat mixed in November following the U.S. election. U.S. public equities rallied sharply and were up 6% for the month, with a healthy broadening in participation as small caps outperformed, returning almost 10% for the month. Non-U.S. equities underperformed with a negative 1% return for the month, with emerging markets lagging down almost 4% for the month. Core bonds posted a return of 1% in November as 10-year U.S. Treasury yields fell by 12 basis points during the month. High yield and leveraged loan markets were also up as credit spreads tightened. And broad commodities were up, with the Bloomberg Commodity Index posting 41 basis points of positive return in November. Portfolios are preliminarily indicated up anywhere from 2.5% to 3% for the month of November, so got back that October performance and are on track again for a strong fiscal year. Currently, while the markets are pricing a 70% chance that the Fed will cut rates later, 25 basis points later this month, our expectation is a little cautious. Higher rates and volatility are likely to become the norm, especially as the new administration pursues expansionary fiscal and trade policies, which really means just more uncertainty in the world. Our position is the Fed will likely have to wait until fiscal policy is implemented before recalibrating monetary policy. And from a allocation perspective, we're moving. We have been significantly overweight or modestly overweight across portfolios, public equities. We have been trimming those, and we've been rotating. During the quarter, we were overweight non-U.S. relative to U.S. Rebalance activity took us to a neutral stance, and the most recent rebalancing activity has been to implement a slight overweight in U.S. public equities. We're duration neutral and kind of on the screws as far as positioning both in high yield, specialty credit, and core fixed income with a neutral duration stance. That's what I had, and happy to take any questions.
You brought up a good, it was an excellent report, but I think sometimes the general public doesn't understand what a basis point is, and they think it's a percentage. Could you explain to those who are not familiar with the investment terms what a basis point is?
Sure. It's 1/100th of a percentage point. So 100 basis points equals 1%.
All right, thank you. And I don't know if I'm talking to some of my constituents that it's confusing to them sometimes. And they think when you talk 80 basis points, they're thinking 80%. And so I thought that would be very beneficial for people who are not familiar with it, know what it is. Thank you.
No, that's a great clarification, and unfortunately, I especially fall into that trap sometimes of speaking that financial lingo and not appreciating that everyone doesn't necessarily understand that. So I appreciate that clarification.
And because I know when I first came on the board, I kept my iPad for material Investopedia on the phone so I can understand what was being said. So I understand the difficulty if that's not your bailiwick, but I thought that would really help clarify some of the terms, and that's an important one for everybody.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have a question for him?
I'll just make a comment. Ryan yesterday had said something about the intern program, and that there's a lot of interest in coming to work for the investments, and I think that's great.
Hopefully we're in an exciting place. I think there's a lot of opportunity, a lot going on. Markets are fun to be in, fun to watch, and it's challenging every day. So it's a great opportunity.
And Steve, your report this morning is very clear and concise. I liked it a lot. Good work.
Thank you.
Yes. And I think that's, I agree with what both Dr. Hackner and Ms. Hampton said. And I think the Office of Investment would be a great place because it's small. You have a great environment for learning. So I think more power to you. And I hope the interest keeps gaining. And
We're
maybe we
excited
can
for
get some of them.
Long term, that's our plan. Yes.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. Anybody have anything else? Again, thank you, Mr. Willard. Next up is the Executive Director's report. Mr. Burrow, good morning.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I certainly want to thank Steve for his positive update on performance. Dominique, there's a lot of progress there. And then clearly Mike Lamb on the financials. That has been a heavy lift. So thanks to all their teams. Very positive. I'll focus on kind of the balance and maybe go a different direction from earlier in this week. But just quickly on legislation, we think, leadership really clearly drives that. We think we're in good position. We've had quite a few meetings on our two priorities, really the pension spiking that's a result of the Court of Appeals and the reorg bill. So those have been submitted. Number 3, PPOB, we talked about valuations last month. We're going to focus on the reorg bill this coming Monday. So looking forward to that. Lynn, I know you're always focused on the Louisville office, and that's tied into the interns. We've got it back to facilities. There's been several reviews. Kudos to Steve, Rebecca on, looking at where outlets are and those kind of things. Get it right the first time has been our philosophy on that. So back with facilities and finance, happy to proceed with that, but really defer to them on their kind of, statutory requirements. The strategic plan, Rebecca is out this week. She gave me some kind of thoughts to present to you. We got the teams working. We're really on schedule with the consultant that was hired pre-me, but there is a lot of progress happening on that. We have a note about staffing. I will note for Aaron's purposes, there is a new training class. I look forward to walking down the hall and saying hi to them. It's a very robust training, and we certainly welcome them. On the communication side, thanks to Mr. O'Mara, we have kind of a new process internally. We think it's going to result in a couple things: to be able to less frequent when stuff doesn't move, but more frequent when it does, meaning if there's a committee vote, we now have the ability to push out an update. That wasn't the case before. So very excited about the legislative process and what Amy has done and others, and your feedback. And the closing, very excited. KECC, we've hit our goals. We're still working towards additional funding, but very positive. So thank you for letting me cover those 7 things past the previous positive things have been covered in this meeting.
Thank you, sir. Any questions, Mr. Burrow? All right, thank you. I want to congratulate all the employees at KPPA and their efforts with the KECC, the Kentucky Employable Charity Campaign. That's shows a lot of our employees have a lot of heart and care. So thank you. Moving on next, new business. Anybody have any new business they wish to present? There being none, we'll move to the next item, which is the closed session. I'll entertain a motion that we enter into closed session to discuss pending litigation.
Also move.
Second.
Have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion having been made in open session to move into closed session for a specific purpose, and such motion having been carried by a majority vote is an open public session. The board shall enter closed session to consider litigation matters pursuant to KRS 61.810 subsection 1C. Closed session necessary because of the necessity of protecting the confidentiality of KPPA litigation strategy and preserving any available attorney-client privilege.